Hello, Stampin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Late Night Lori's coming to you as an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. So thanks for watching my video tonight. I am just doing some random stuff. I decided I really like this paper and I've cut up a lot of it. We are using tonight the Floral Delight 12 by 12 Designer Series paper that's in the mini catalog, and the Floral and Gingham Vellum that's also in the mini catalog. So I already cut some pieces out when I was doing the butterfly cards yesterday, and I laid out some of these Designers Series papers on the cardstock. I thought, you know, excuse me, those would be really pretty just like even without the butterfly. So I thought I'd cut a few things and play with a few colors and see what they look like. So this first one, and I just cut up like a bunch of little scraps. This first one, I used a 4 by 5 1/4 sheet of the vellum. Now, if you put the vellum on a darker color, it's not quite as vibrant, but when you put it on white, look at what a big difference that makes. So kind of dull to very bright. So we are doing the vellum on here. And something I discovered when you use the vellum, if you use an adhesive sheet on the back, if you use liquid glue, or if you use Stampin' Seal, it really doesn't show. So I'm going to put a few strips of Stampin' Seal on here, and we'll kind of line it up. That's pretty close. And then I use the Spotlight on Nature dies. I think that's what these are called. I haven't used them for a while. Yeah, Spotlight on Nature dies. It actually goes with this stamp set, but I'm not using the stamp set. I'm just using the dies. Excuse me. So I cut, what did I do with the die? Here it is. I took the die and I just put it on the edge of my paper, because what I'm going to do is just line it up here, because that was the look I wanted. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and burnish this with my bone folder to get it nice and flat. And then I think I'm just going to put that flat on there. I wasn't sure if I was going to put it on dimensionals or flat, but I think flat is best. Oh, and I guess I probably should have stamped first. Hopefully it'll be pretty. So I'm just going to line this up here and press that down. So I have it off center. It's there's more space down here, and that's kind of how I intended. So let's do, we'll do garden green. I think that'll look okay. In fact, what I could do is stamp it on a scrap. The color's a little bit off because this is intended to be Old Olive. So let's just see what it looks like with the Old Olive. Instead, I might like it better. And I'm very lucky to have running water in my stamping space. And I am going to kind of prime this with some Versamark. Sometimes when I have newer stamps that haven't been used real often, they don't want to hold on to the ink very well. So let's just take a look at this and see. That'll probably look better, huh? So let's see if we can get it coated quite nicely with the ink. I did put a little bit more re-inker on here yesterday when I was stamping, so hopefully that'll work. I'll just put that down there and pray that I did okay. Woohoo! Awesome. And then I think what I'm going to do is put just a couple of butterflies on there. And those I will put on dimensionals. I'm going to close up my ink right now. Now these butterflies, there are not dies with the Beautiful Butterflies bundle. There are not dies that cut those out, but this I use the hybrid embossing folder with the die for here. And then I just fussy cut those out. Now, keep in mind, I am not a fussy cutting fan, but for you, I fussy cut. All right, so we'll just put a few dimensionals on here sometime, and make sure you're using the stuff around the edges because there's nothing wrong with those. And voila, we are going to have a card in very short order. And the butterfly, I cut that like it was because that was at the edge of my paper. So I'm putting at the edge here like it's flying in from the side because I can. A few dimensionals on there. I probably wouldn't have needed quite that many, but it'll be nice and secure. I'm more of a dimensional minimalist. I usually don't put a whole lot on. What do you think of that? Isn't that pretty? And then I need to decide, do I want to put a bow on here somewhere? Let's just, here, let's get my bow maker. If you want a bow maker, get in touch with me. I can hook you up. I made a bunch of them. They go pretty fast. So it also makes just a nice even bow. That doesn't want to come out today. So we could put a bow on here somewhere. I don't know, what do you think? Does that look stupid? Cut those a little shorter. I think that looks kind of sweet. But I'm not sure. We could put that there. I'll have to kind of think on that one. That does look kind of sweet there. But I don't want to take away from the butterflies either. And I'm not sure that these look fancy enough. So I think what I might do is find some nice little pearls or something. But what a simple card, right? Piece of vellum, little cardstock, and you're good to go with the extra little butterflies. I'll hang on to that. I might want to use it. We'll see. All right, card number 2. Let's do this one because this one will be pretty simple too. I took a piece of the Designer Series paper, and it's like 1, 2, 3 3/4. So from here to here, it's 3 3/4. I cut these down to 1 1/4 inch strips, and I'm just going to adhere those on my paper. It's a good way to get rid of just some little scraps you have, although I used a whole piece so I can get a continuous design. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to put these on the outside, kind of where they're going to sit, but I'm going to put this one in the middle so I can line them up accordingly. Sometimes I'll put the outside ones on and then put the middle one in and then as the last piece. But if I'm not sure how far my border is going to be exactly, then I'll put the middle one on first. And then I thought for my sentiment, I would use the Modern Oval Punch. I need to get that a little closer together, I think. So you can see where it's a little wider on the outside, but I kind of like it with the narrow strips. So Modern Oval Punch, let me make sure that this is still available. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it's in the mini catalog. It's a carryover, so that should be good to go. We are going to use this Time to Celebrate from the Beautiful Butterflies. We're going to use this one. And again, I'm going to put a little Versamark on there. Just because that's a slow drying ink and it kind of primes it, the photopolymer, and it'll hold on to some of the other ink, is my hope. So let's ink this up. Now you can see I'm inking my stamp. I'm not putting my stamp to the ink. The risk with that is going squish, 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 and then you have way too much ink on your stamp. So let's see how wide we need this. So I'm going to do it right about here, I guess. Alrighty. And then let me close this so I don't make an inky mess. And we're going to trim this down just a little bit. And I think, let's just take a look. So that's about 1.5 inches. So let's take this to 1.5 inches. And then, I've shown this before, but I'm going to, instead of going like this, I am going to put it in my punch, but I'm going to take one end out so I can make this whatever size I want. And I actually could have made it a little wider because you can see it's got some playroom up there, but that's okay. If those edges are a little rough, I'll just take my scissors. All right. And then here, we're going to pull this side up and do it on the other side. And then we can make our banner bigger than what the punch is. So it's a great way to extend the use of your punches. And actually that looks really good. So let's go back here and let's go ahead and fold and burnish this. And this I will put up on dimensionals as well. I just wonder if I need like a little circle or something behind there. That might be kind of pretty. I think we're going to do that. Let me go get a scrap of white. Let's see how that looks. And we'll bring out Bossy Bessie here. And we'll see. We just need plate number 1, plate number 2, a cutting plate, our paper and our die, and then a top cutting plate. And usually I keep my clean one for the top. Usually I'll put a sticker on here from my labeler that says that's the top, so that it stays cleaner. And I'll get Bossy Bessie out of the way. Now let's just take a look. So that does dress it up just a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe if I cut some of this out of here, I might like it better. So that it's not quite so big behind there. What do you think of that? I like that. That works for me. So let's put a little bit of seal on here. Line these up. Guess it doesn't matter if I have it right side up or not. We'll do a little closer together. I like it. What do you think? I like that. All right, so let's use a few more dimensional pieces here. And get my take your pick tool. Beautiful. That worked on all of them. So we can put this here. I think that'll go right in the center. I think that'll look nice. And I think the bow would actually work on this better than it works on the other one. But I don't like the way I have that trimmed. So let's get a couple of glue dots. I usually try to put one on each side of the knot. If I can keep it from sticking to my fingers. And then we can put that right here. Puff up that bow. And then of course I would do envelopes to match. You know, I would do the flap so that they match. And then let's put some of these on in the centers of the flowers, just to kind of give it a little something there. And I always do these in odd numbers. So we'll put 5 of them on there. That looks pretty good. So bam, that's 2 cards done. And then let's just take a look. Get some of this stuff out of the way. Let's just take a look at this one. I'm going to put this on that side. Get rid of this. And these were just some random scraps that I'm going to start gluing on here. I did them a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and an inch. Just kind of randomly. And they are just going to create like a sideways picket fence. I just liked the bright yellow and the contrast of the green. And then we'll put this ribbon up around. This will go on here, and we'll put a little saying on there. So if you got a couple more minutes with me, let's just start gluing these on. Now we could leave the tips of these little flag pieces kind of loose so that they can flip up. And I debated whether I should maybe put them a little canted on purpose so that if I didn't get them exactly straight, it wouldn't matter. But I think with these angle cuts, if they are a little off, it'll be camouflaged. So that's my story and I'm sticking with it. It's pretty good. So again, these are just scraps. Now with this little design on here, it wouldn't really matter whether the design matched up or not, and mine do not. They are not continuous pieces here because I used a couple of different scraps. And you could even use a couple of different designs, like if I wanted to put this on there too. But I kind of didn't care for how it looked with this paper. So I'm just using all the same side of the designer series paper. But like I said, it's a good way to use up some of your scraps. All right, so oops. Good thing we have glue. We have a little wiggle room. All right, so here then, what I'm going to do is tie this, and my intention was to just tie it in a knot, not a bow, and just make like a flagged ribbon here. It's not quite as fancy, and it also doesn't look quite as goofy if you can't get a cute knot, or a cute bow rather. So there's that, and this is going to tuck under there once we put our sentiment on here. Now this one I am going to use the garden green because that's what I used as my base instead of the old olive. And we'll try to make sure that I'm going to line that up on my grid here so I can try to get it straight. Nice. And then this will just affix flat. Sometimes the seal is so strong that it will lift up the edges of your paper. So be warned with that. It's a pretty strong adhesive. And then depending on your technique, sometimes you, it's really sticky, see? If you lift it too much and some of this peels off, then you have to just kind of advance that blank part of it. So that can go right about there. And I think I will put a couple of glue dots under my ribbon to just kind of hold it in place. So it kind of stays where I want it. And then I'll put a white insert in here. I should have probably burnished that before I put my ribbon on. So let's try to scooch this over a little bit more so it doesn't cover all of my words. There. That's a little bit better. There. And then we can put, I don't think I like these for that. I think those are too casual. So again, like with this one, I will find a different embellishment to put on there, but I will definitely put an embellishment on there. So 3 cards basically just from scraps and little pieces of paper. That's all I have. Pretty quick, pretty easy, pretty painless. If you would like any of these things and you don't have a demonstrator, I would love it if you would shop with me. I would love it if you would share my video with some of your crafty friends. I am trying to increase my viewership, get a little bit more exposure. So if you share it, that would be great. If you do want to shop with me, you can find me at lauriemacari.stampinup.net. And if you need any creative support, feel free to reach out to me. All right. Until next time, happy stampin'.